You clicked on this video for one reason and one reason only. You want to make some money. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 bets. I'm going to give you a parlay, a round prop bet, and a big juicy prop bet. In addition, I'm going to give you every single one of my DFS plays, which are positive over 90 units since the beginning of 2024. In addition, I'll let you know where you can get every single one of my bets on UFC 316. Absolutely free. Stay tuned for that throughout the show. Before we hop into this, I want to shout out the sponsor of the video. Bet105 is a crypto-only sportsbook. As you can see right here on the screen, they offer reduced juice. They offer some of the best lines out there. I'm going to give you a parlay later in this video that they're going to boost by 20%. If you want to sign up on Bet105, they have some of the easiest withdrawals and deposits. Since they're crypto only, you don't have to wait days, when you're withdrawing funds if you're going to go through the bank. It's crypto only, so easy to withdraw. There's no rollover requirements, none of that. It's very simple. You deposit $100 when you use my code HeyJive, and you're going to get a $50 free bet. Shout out to Bet105 for sponsoring the show. There's a link down in the description below to go ahead and get yourself signed up. The parlay that I'm going to give you actually did lock in there, and it was the best odds that I could find in the market. Before we get into the bets this week, as always, we have to go over last week. Last week did not go well. Ludovic Klein was an L. This should be red because it was an L, but Ludovic Klein, terrible bet. I apologize for that. Absolutely screwed the pooch on that one. All right, I screwed the pooch on that one. I thought Gamrot Siklein was coming. He looked amazing. Shout out to Gamrot. He looked awesome. Ludovic Klein did not look good. L on Ludovic Klein. We did hit the under 2.5 in the Billy Goff Ramiz Brahimaj fight. Brahimaj got it done in round 1. Pretty easy cash right there. Felt pretty good about that one. We did cash that one. But the under 1.5 in this one did not cash. It did not cash. I don't know how this fight went to a decision. Dusko was looking like he was going to submit him in round 1. I was like, yeah, this is the easiest money ever. Zachary Reese fights his way out of it. Both guys kind of gassed out after round 1. And that's kind of the risk. When you're playing a chalk under 1.5 and both guys gas out in round 1, the finishing potential for the rest of the fight just pretty much goes down. I didn't expect them to gas like that. I thought one guy would at least take over. Neither of them did. So we lose that one. Overall, last week on the 3 bets that I gave you, we were down minus 1.86 units. I apologize. Last week was actually not a good week for me. So it makes sense, that the 3 bets that I gave you were actually in the red. This year, we're still down 6.13 units in 2025 for the 3 bets that I give you on this show. But we are up on the year. The DFS recap was absolute dumpster fire. I mean, we had 4 slips throughout last week get refunded because of cancellations. 2 of the slips that I gave you got refunded, and the one that didn't lost because Zachary Reese went to a decision. Dustin Jacoby did hit, but we lost 1 unit on DFS. Overall, last week, DFS was just cancellation after cancellation after cancellation. And when that happens, we're losing big swings because we had a couple slips that would have been 1-0, and the other fight got canceled, so we just get our money back. It sucks, but it is part of the game. Let's get into the bets this week. We got a round prop bet to start it off. We're going with the fight to not go the distance here in the Joshua Van versus Bruno Silva fight. Okay, Joshua Van is a guy that likes to push a very high pace. He's going to throw a lot of volume out there. He's going to make you fight him. And Bruno Silva is a guy that is very dangerous. He is older, so I do expect if Joshua Van gets his game going, that he could take over and find a finish in this one. He's coming off 3 straight decisions, and I think that's why we're getting plus money on this fight to not go the distance, because the recency bias is telling you this guy's going to decision. But Bruno Silva is a finisher, and he got finished in his last fight against Manel Kape. And he took a lot of damage. And considering his age and considering their flyweights, I don't know that he's going to be able to take the damage from Joshua Van in this fight. So realistically, I think Joshua Van gets him out of there in rounds 2 or 3. But we do have upside. If Bruno Silva does come in and crack him with something, Joshua Van has been knocked out in the UFC by, I would probably say, less of a power puncher in Charles Johnson. So there's possibility for that. Bruno Silva also does have some solid jiu-jitsu, could find his way to the back and submit him. But overall, I think Joshua Van's probably going to be the one leading this fight and getting the finish here. I like the fight to not go the distance at plus 120 at 1 unit. There's your round prop bet for the week. Let's get into the Underdog Plays. If you're in one of these highlighted states, you're going to want to download the Underdog app. There's a link down in the description below. Use code HeyJock, get your deposit bonus up to $1,000, and you can win slips like these. We've already hit 2 5-pick entries for a 20x and an 18x payout. As I said at the beginning of the show, we're positive 92.57 units since the beginning of 2024 on 2-pick entries alone. So not even including the big payouts that we have hit this year and last year. Just straight up 2-pick entries, we're positive 92.57 units. So this week, we're going to get a Sean O'Malley special. So if you sign up with the code HeyJock, you're going to get a Sean O'Malley gimme pick. He just needs to land one significant strike in the main event and we win. Even if he doesn't land a significant strike, we get refunded because it's 0.0. So there's only upside for that. You're going to get that when you download the app. If you're watching on a TV or a monitor or whatever, you can whip out your phone, scan this QR code, and get it downloaded easier that way. Scan that QR code, download the app, and you can put these plays in. We locked in plays in early this week because I was looking at the lines, and I was like, dang, these are some pretty good lines. So I had to lock them in early, and the premium members got those first. I'm giving them to you now for free. So some of these lines might look a little bit different, but whenever I put them in, I'm looking at them, and I see a 7 to 10 range of value, I should say, when I'm looking at these, because more often than not, when bumps do come in, I account for them. So let's just look at them. Kong Wang, higher than 59.5 significant strikes. She went over 100. Her last fight against Bruna Brazil. This is a step up in competition against Ariane Lipski, and I think the fight will probably go late into the second, into the third. Maybe Kong Wang could get her out of there in the second and the third, but I think Da Silva is good enough. I call her Da Silva or Lipski, whatever. I think Da Silva is good enough to get this fight to the second and the third round. Kong Wang's a big favorite. I expect her to be leading the dance. She's a high-volume striker that I think is going to be able to rack up the significant strikes here. She lands over 6 significant strikes per minute. If she gets there through 10 minutes, I expect her to get over 60. So I like the Kong Wang higher. Sergey Spivak lower than 37.5. Not a high-volume striker whatsoever. Most of his significant strikes do come with ground and pound. And I don't know that, he's going to be landing a ton of ground and pound on Waldo Cortez Acosta. I like the early finish in this one as well. Spivak's probably going to be hunting for some submissions, looking for some takedowns. If he gets it, cool, but I don't expect him to be landing a lot of significant strikes. So at lower than 37.5, I love it. Josh Ovan, the most significant strikes landed per minute in UFC history. 8.1 significant strikes landed per minute. This fight is favored to go the distance. Now, I don't expect it to go the distance, but Josh Ovan has hit this in almost every single fight he's had. He's had multiple rounds in the UFC where he's landed over 70 significant strikes, multiple rounds. So we know this guy can put up a ton of volume, and he can get 70-plus significant strikes in one round. Bruno Silva, I don't want to say he's a punching bag, but he's there to be hit. I expect Josh Ovan to put on a ton of volume in this fight, and I think, he's even shown he got a second-round finish against Felipe Bunes, and he still landed 80-plus significant strikes in that one. So I like the higher than 76.5 for Joshua Van. Vicente Luque lower than 48.5. He's at a significant reach disadvantage. Kevin Holland actually does not get hit with that many significant strikes unless he's going up against a very elite striker, like a Jack Della Maddalena, like a Wonderboy Thompson. Vicente Luque, at this point in his career, I don't even think he wants to go out there and strike. I think he's probably going to want to grapple, so I don't expect him to be landing a ton of significant strikes on Kevin Holland. Lower than 48.5 for Luque. And then we're going lower than 65.5 for Mario Batista. Patchy Mix is a tall, lengthy guy that doesn't really like to engage in the striking too much. He's going to look to take you down to the ground. And if he's taking down Mario Batista, they're going to be grappling. And I don't expect this to be a high-volume striking affair whatsoever. Patchy Mix probably going to be the one trying to lead the dance with the grappling. So I like the lower than 65.5 for Mario Batista. 5 correct on that one, wins 20x. We just got to pray there's no cancellations, because last week the 5-pick play had a cancellation. Hopefully it doesn't happen that time. Lock that in to win 20x. The 2-pick entries right here, we got Kong Wang, higher than 62.5. It literally bumped right after I put this one in. 62.5 for Kong Wang, higher. Lower than 61.5 for Juliana Pena. Kayla Harrison only absorbs, I think it's like 1.15 significant strikes per minute. Juliana Pena is not a high-volume striker either. You look at all of her UFC fights, I think she's only been over this in 1 or 2 of her UFC fights. There's going to be grappling in this one. We're going to go over some takedown lines later in the video. But Juliana Pena, 23% takedown defense. If Kayla Harrison wants to take her down, she's probably going to take her down. And if she's on her back, she's not going to be landing significant strikes. So I like the lower than 61.5 for Juliana Pena. There's some upside for some early finish there. Spivak and Joshua Van, we talked about those, but we're pairing those together to win 3X. And Vicente Luque and Mari Batista, we're pairing those both lower. 2 correct wins, 3X there. So we got 3 2-pick entries for 3X payouts and a 5-pick entry for a 20X payout right there. Again, download Underdog. There's a link down in the description below, or you can scan this QR code, get that Sean O'Malley gimme pick in the main event for some free coin when you sign up with code HeyJob. Get your deposit bonus, lock those plays in, and we'll make some money. We will. Let's get into the parlay. The parlay this week is going to be the over 2.5 rounds in the Markel Medeiros Mark Choinsky fight. I think Markel is more of a point fighter on the feet. You know, Choinsky is obviously, it's a step up in competition. It's his UFC debut, but he's also more of a wrestler grappler. His striking is okay. I don't expect him to be outclassed on the feet by Markel. I don't expect him to get hit with super big shots from Markel. So I don't think Markel's going to find a finish here. And Choinsky's got some submissions on his record, but I don't expect him to, you know, choke out Markel. I think Markel's good enough on the ground where he can survive, but I do expect there to be times in the fight where there is, I don't want to say stalling, but there's going to be periods where there's cage control, there's control on the ground. So I expect the clock to be ticking, and I like the over 2.5 there. In the main event, we're taking the over 4.5 rounds. Merab is not a finisher. He's just not a finisher. He almost always goes to a decision. And Sean O'Malley is a finisher, but if you look at when he's fought high-level competition, Petr Yan, Merab Dvalishvili, he's going to decision. And yes, he knocked out Aljamain Sterling, but Aljo is a guy that can be hurt and can be knocked out. Merab's never been knocked out. So I don't really expect to see it finish in this one. I like the over 4.5. I like the fight to go the distance in this one. We're pairing those together for a plus 112 parlay. We're putting 1 unit on that. And this is going to be the boosted parlay on Bet 105. So if we take a look here, I don't have the exact graphic for this parlay, but ultimately they're going to boost it by 20%. So when you sign up with code HeyJob and you get your deposit, or you deposit $100 and get your $50 free bet, you want to put that free bet on that parlay, you're going to get it boosted by 20%. There's a link down in the description below. Bet 105. On top of the reduced juice, they're also going to boost that parlay for you. Link down in the description below for Bet 105. There's your parlay bet for the week. Now, if you want all my bets this week, you can use code JERSEY when you're signing up for the Home of Fight Picks Premium membership. There's a link down in the description below. We're positive 35.62 units in 2025 so far, which is way ahead of what we were last year in 2024. And last year, we still finished up over 100 units. So since we're on a better track than we were last year, I expect us to get at least over 100 units by the end of 2024. As long as we stay consistent, we stack up our wins, I expect us to do that here on UFC 316. Pay-per-views were 5-0 in 2025, so the pay-per-views have treated us very well. We're positive 23.91 units in 2025 on pay-per-views alone. So hopefully we can make that 6-0 going in and after UFC 316. Again, if you want all my bets this week, use code JERSEY at checkout on the Home of Fight Picks Winnable. When you sign up for Winnable, you're going to get the plays sent directly to your phone through a text message. You click on the link, it opens the browser. You can see the bets there so you can lock them in and you don't miss anything, because that is going to be a big deal moving forward. When the DFS plays drop, you get your text, you open the link, and you can lock in before any of the bumps. 5-0 on pay-per-views. Let's make it 6-0 this week. Link down in the description below to get all the bets. The juicy prop bet that I was telling you about at the beginning of the video is going to be Sean O'Malley to win by decision. I already told you I like this fight to go to a decision, but considering Sean O'Malley is probably the more dangerous striker, the guy with the better striking, the guy that the UFC probably wants to win, I think he has all the possibility in the world to win a decision here. Merab is a very durable guy. Merab is more the minute winner. But if Sean O'Malley can win the moments in this fight and win the moments in 3 out of the 5 rounds, he can absolutely win a decision. We saw him get taken down, 6 times against Petr Yan? He still won a decision. Was it a close decision? Was it a fair decision? That's up to argument. But considering this fight is 5 rounds, Sean O'Malley's only got to win 3 rounds. Umar Nurmagomedov won 2 out of the 5. I think he arguably could have won 3 out of the 5. O'Malley won 2 out of the 5 in the first fight. He's got a lot of room to improve, considering where the odds are at on his decision line at plus 700. I think it is absolutely worth a sprinkle. I already said I like the fight to go to the decision. We're going to get plus 700 on Sean O'Malley to win that decision. I'm putting 0.2 units on it, so it's just a little sprinkle, but I think there's a ton of value on O'Malley by decision this week. Plus 700 for Sean O'Malley. There's your prop bet for the week. I think if we get to a decision, we're going to be feeling pretty good about our plus 700 ticket, and I think we're going to get there. So O'Malley decision, plus 700. There's your prop bet for the week. 0.2 units on that. Let's get into the Betr Picks plays. So Betr Picks has been huge for us this year because we hit the 100x on UFC 314, and that's a big, big payday there. $100 to win $10K on that. So if you're in one of these purple states, you're going to want to download Betr Picks. Use code HeyJive to get your deposit bonus up to $250. You can lock these plays in. They're also going to give you the same thing that Underdog is going to give you. They're going to give you an O'Malley free pick. Just needs to hit one significant strike in the main event, and you're going to win. Let's look at the eight pick play on Betr Picks this week. Vicente Luque lower, Pena lower, Kayla Harrison higher than 3.5 takedowns. So there's a bit of correlation here. You know, if Kayla Harrison's getting her takedowns like I expect her to, Juliana Pena is not going to be landing significant strikes. So Kayla Harrison should be able to rack up takedowns. She's actually fought a lot better defensive wrestlers than Juliana Pena. Holly Holmes, much better defensive wrestler. Ketlin Vieira has some of the best takedown defense in the women's bantamweight division, or yeah, I guess probably the best in the women's bantamweight division. She still took her down twice. I think she's going to get takedowns on Pena whenever she wants. So I like the higher than 3.5 on takedowns for Kayla Harrison. Patchy Mix lower than 48.5. Not a high volume guy. Probably going to see some grappling there. I already told you I like the Bautista lower, and I like the Patchy Mix lower as well. Joshua Van higher on significant strikes. Kong Wang higher than 62.5 significant strikes. And then a bit of correlation here. I think this fight probably does end early, so I like the lower than 2.5 takedowns for Sergey Spivak with the lower than 50.5 significant strikes for Waldo. If Spivak's going to get him to the ground, I expect him to establish top control. I don't think Waldo's just going to spring back up to his feet. And if Waldo does hit him with something that he doesn't like, Spivak is going to take the door. He always does. If he gets hit with something he doesn't like, he's going to take the door. So if this fight ends in round 1, I think these both hit. And I think there's a high possibility for that. There's your 8-pick play on Betr Picks. The 2-pick entry on Betr Picks this week is going to be Patchy Mix lower than 48.5. I already said, I think there's going to be a lot of grappling in that one. Patchy Mix is not a high-volume guy, so I like his lower there. And we're pairing that with Kayla Harrison, higher than 3.5 takedowns. I think she does get takedowns whenever she wants. 23% takedown defense for Juliana Pena. Kayla Harrison should be able to get that. 2-pick entry correct, 3x payout right there. Again, lock in these picks or these bets on Betr Picks. Link down in the description below. If you're in one of these purple states, use code HeyJive, get your deposit bonus up to $250. Get that O'Malley free pick for new users. Just needs to land one significant strike in the main event, and we win. Lock them in. Let's make some money. And lastly, I want to thank you for watching this video. Please like the video for me. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel further, you can go to ProfessorParlayShop.com. You can buy yourself a nice tee. Professor Parlay is a nice little fun thing I like to do and throw out some crazy parlays that are never going to hit. But if they do, it's a once-in-a-lifetime hit. Maybe one of these days we're going to hit them. But it's a fun thing. You know, you wear your Professor Parlay shirt on Saturday, you're going to feel good about your parlays. You're going to feel good about them. It's a black and white, super easy, high-quality t-shirt. This isn't some Gildan tee. Okay, it's going to be very high quality. It's going to last you a very long time. If you want to support the show further, ProfessorParlayShop.com to get your merch. Appreciate y'all. Good luck on all your bets. Let me know down in the comments if you're tailing, if you're fading. I don't care. Good luck to you. UFC 316 is going to be a fun card. Hopefully you cash, and hopefully we do as well. Appreciate y'all. Till next time, HeyJive Picks.